Today I'm going to be pruning gooseberries. Well, as you can see, we're in the fruit cage, which is actually a vegetable cage pretty much. But here are the gooseberries, and as you can see they're quite packed, coming over the path. With pruning, basically there are a few reasons. One is to get fruit or flowers, and the other is when they've outgrown their space. So this is perfect time, it's winter, and basically you need to take out any old stems and well, basically the three pruning involves the 4 Ds: dead stems, diseased stems, dying stems, and another D that I really can't remember, and I've been racking my brains all day trying to remember what the 4th D is. So when I remember, I'll put it in here. And also crossing branches. And in the spirit of all good things, here's one I did earlier. See that? You can see that's well thinned out, because basically one of the things you need to do is create airflow. So if you look in there, that's all congested. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out a lot of these thin stems, and if you employ the rule of thirds, so you take 1 stem out of every 3, that's a general guide, but because not every guide is the ground, what I call the ground force guide, which is basically you have an area like that, then you plant it up. That's pretty much never, okay, or very rare. What you often have is you have something like this that you need to get in order. One of the main rules about pruning is you either prune to a bud or where a branch splits. So for example, I'm not going to do any of these because they're all fruiting and they've been done reasonably recently, but if you were going to cut this, you'd be cutting to a bud or a join. Like for example, you cut back to there. I'm not going to cut back to there, but cut back to there, say. But a lot of these lower ones are going to go because they're over the path. So first thing you need, and maybe the only thing you need, a good sharp pair of secateurs and a good pair of gloves, because this has got some nasty thorns. So here is an example of crossing. That's a crossing branch, these two, so one of them will have to go. But as for the rest, basically it's just a matter of thinning out. So if you could see that is useless, as is that and that. So they're all going to be cut out. Well, I've just had to dodge a sleet shower, but I thought I'd give you a progress view. As you can see, it's a lot thinner now if you compare it with the other one. So basically I'm taking most of those tiny growths out, and anything that's crossing I'm cutting back. Anything that grows in towards the centre of the plant, like that for example, and maybe this, just take it off. As a gardener, one of the things you learn is to be ruthless. You can do it other ways. You can just let everything grow, but if you let everything grow, then you will run out of space, and that is guaranteed. You will either run out of space or things will die, but you're more likely to run out of space. So there is a chance that you're not going to see the finished one today, but basically don't be scared, but use the rule of third if you want to. So like all the old stems, you can see which are the old stems and which are the new stems. See this brown, that's obviously old. and by its thickness you can tell that it's older than that one. So yeah, so I'm keeping this because it's a structure. I did an extreme prune a few years ago on this, so I'm just basically thinning it out so the air can get in, because if you don't let the air get in, then disease can affect it. And if you have crossing branches that move and sway, they rub together and they create little scars where disease can get in. So I'm going to empty the barrow because I want to get rid of the tools. So hopefully I'll see you in a minute. Along with nice thick gloves, it's always handy to have a nice thick jacket or something, because I've been pricked all up my arm. But okay, so I've done one, but it's not that one, it's that one. As you can see, there's a lot more light in there now. There will always be stems that you'll go, oh, I don't know whether to take that one or that one out. But because this was done a few years ago, I'm keeping the height. I mean, I'm still tempted to take down to what, that bud there, so what's that, 6 buds, 7 buds, but not much. But if you do want to reduce branches, don't forget the rule of thirds. Never take more than a third off, or never take more than a third out. You can take more, but you know, approximately, you have to use your own judgment. Because one of the things that people don't realise about pruning is that the harder you cut and the more you cut, the more vigour is likely to happen, or the plant won't grow back at all. That's basically the two things that I've found. But usually it's the harder you cut, the more vigour it grows back. So if you want to reduce the vigour of a plant but you need to prune it, just prune it a little bit, and because a little bit will mean it won't grow quite so much. Whereas if you prune anything hard, all it thinks is, I'm going to die, quick, grow, I need to produce flowers and seeds so I can spread. And that's basically the principle. So as you can see, the sun is going down behind there, so that's probably it for now. So next week I expect I should be doing the other one, unless someone has done it before me, in which case I won't. But there you go, that's one that has been thinned so the air can get through, whereas this one has been thinned and it's had height reduction. So you can see just how thin you can get. So I think we got 3 stages here. We've got plant before, plant after, and plant after with stem reduction. The one thing to do is be confident, and that's fine. If you make a mistake, well, you make a mistake, you'll have to replace the plant. But that is highly unlikely. You have to be really, really brutal and extreme with bad cuts to do that. Okay, it's a week later, and I've finally pruned this one, and that's both of them done. Ideally, to get a nice shape and space, I'd be taking this one out, but I've been asked to leave that one. So this is it for now. Ordinarily, you'd take 6 inches off the leaders and the laterals, and obviously cut them back to a bud with a sloping cut. This is kind of a half cut, this job. Normally, you know, this is the extreme prune, because that hasn't been done, and that was getting in the way. I think it must be quite a few years since we did it, and therefore we're just letting air go through here. There's a few bits that are crossing, but I can't really take that one out without damaging the shape, so I don't know. I've left it for now. Here they are now, and it's 2 months later. And if you look down in there, you can see lots of new leaves, new growth appearing from lower down on this one and in this one. So there you go. I hope that helps you. Thanks for watching. Join me next time. Ta-da.